Okay, now people can hear you.
Oh, okay, cool. I was saying hello to the chat. We need to come up with some cool music, so that when we're loading,
Uh-huh.
there's like some cool funky music. I don't know. I'll think of something. I'm a
Okay.
musician as well, so I should probably come up with it.
If I play something on the guitar, do you want to sing? Is that what
Yeah,
is that what we want to do?
yeah, we can do something. I can lay a thick beat.
Oh,
What's going on, Charles? Good to see you, buddy. I'm glad you found your Twitch account. Um, ooh,
it's gonna go slow country vibes.
I like that. Okay, my bard needs that. The bard in me needs to come out. I need to think of some lyrics. Dang, I don't have any lyrics.
Well, these worlds aren't gonna build themselves, Brian. You better get the brain
That's true.
going.
That's true.
Did you not
Well,
have enough
folks,
coffee today?
no, dude. Actually, I left my cup of coffee downstairs.
Mm.
It's the worst feeling in the world
It's
to
basically
have.
gone forever.
Yeah, it's pretty much trash now. Like there's no cause. Like we're done. The stream's over, y'all. Bye, y'all. No, I'm kidding. All right, well, folks, thank you for joining. Thank you for hanging out. Um, we're gonna start going really in a little bit. If you want to start, I know our loading screen's up because again, we are children of the '90s, and probably maybe a little bit. I don't know. Well, I'd say safely we're children of the '90s.
Yeah.
Um, so our loading screen's up like an actual loading screen that we are used to. So cheers to
Mm-hmm.
that. What are you drinking tonight, sir?
Oh, here, let me turn our face videos on and show you.
Oh, the face video.
Yeah.
I like.
I have got what is quickly becoming my favorite beer. It's called Carl, and it's just it's a Kolsch from a brewery here in town, St. Elmo's. Super easy drinking, relatively cheap, and
Nice.
yeah, it's at my liquor store. I have a liquor store down the street called Wiggy's that I go on Wiggy's walks pretty often, and I went and
Nice. I like that.
picked up some
I
Carl.
like them wiggy walks.
Right? Yeah.
Maybe it's because you feel wiggy after you drink.
I think that's true. And I've done a few Wiggy walks already drunk, and they were fantastic. Uh,
Well, I'm over here drinking LaCroix because I
ooh.
just got out of a workout, and if I drink alcohol after post workout, I will feel like dog doo doo.
Mm, which is bad.
Also,
That's not what you want.
here's a little death slug that
Oh,
I got.
all right. I've had.
That could be our inspiration
I'm down for that.
for this evening, or what we can do. And actually, I'll ask the folks in the chat.
Mhm.
What do you want to talk about? Because the Draconic Whiz Kids came out with their new Unearthed Arcana as well, and it's pretty interesting. So maybe we can find out more about what the chat wants to listen or wants to talk about. Because there's Draconic options now, and I knew this was going to be a thing because history is cyclical, right? So maybe we could even haircut alert. We've got a haircut alert. Ooh, yeah, that's
Mm-hmm.
true. Um, apparently, there's multiple haircut alerts in the chat. So,
Uh,
huh?
no, I was just making fun of because obviously I got the haircut.
Well, we all technically. There's apparently there's an echo in the audio.
Heard. Um,
Dang gum. Oh, it's
oh,
mine.
will you mute the Discord
I should.
or the Twitch? One or the other. Maybe the Twitch was playing sound on your end. Okay. Nope. No, we need you to unmute the Discord. Sorry.
How's it sounding now, folks? Can I get a thumbs up?
Ba-bum. I was not hearing the echo, so still
Okay.
trash good.
Ask the chat because what I did is I just removed because I was watching the chat via my phone and that's probably where the echo's coming from.
Hmm.
So, pending, let the chat. Is there an echo still? Thumbs up or thumbs down? Thumbs down to say that no, there is no more echo.
No change, apparently. Okay, that. Okay.
Let's see.
So Brian is the one that's echoing, and I'm going to take.
How is it now? Because I muted one of the. We're using like multiple things. We're new to streaming, so hopefully it's resolved now because I muted the OBS that we're using. Apparently we have to do that.
No, still not changed.
Huh. Well, guess we're throwing out the.
Let me. Okay, Brian, will you?
Sorry, y'all.
Maybe
We
is that
are
any
new
better?
to streaming.
Brian, will you say something? I muted my Discord in, which might have been it, but I'm not really sure.
Well, folks, thanks for hanging out with us. Don't know what's going on, but appreciate your patience, especially as we figure out what this is. But I'm going to shut up just in case there's still echo.
Was that whole speech echoey, chat room? Should we do an all mute session today? No change. Okay. So Brian, the only thing I want your audio coming through is the Discord. On your maybe the OBS screen share. Is there a mute option on that? We might be getting some ghost audio through that. All right. Did the OBS Ninja have any mute options? Apparently the echo is not bad. It just exists. Yeah. Brian, are you watching the chat too, or do you want me to relay? Right. So, did we want to roll for what we're building today, or do we want to come up with it using our brains? Brian, can you hear me? Oh God, I might have muted.
Hey, I don't know if the
Oh,
can't see. I can't.
how about now? Is that
I
better?
can hear you now.
Okay, that's much better. Sorry, I was sitting here just chit chatting with you, just having a good old fashioned episode without you responding. Brian, you're me. Oh, never mind. That might be on my end. Hang on. All right, Brian. Let's do a talk test.
All right. Can you, for the folks out there who are listening to this stream, my apologies, because I don't know how to stream. How's that sounding, Josh?
It sounds
So
good to me.
the
Um,
audience will probably say otherwise.
they say that the echo's fine. We should just go on, and then we'll do like a big chit chat about settings later.
Well,
So,
okay.
which I'm fine with.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
well, this is unfortunate. All right. Well, where do we start? Where do we even want to start today?
Well, I vote we start at the beginning because in every story that I've read, that's where it starts. So, Brian, do you want to remind everybody quickly why we're here and what World Building Wednesdays is about?
Um, World Building Wednesday is to hear me blabber on
Hmm.
with my friend from Dungeon Tape
That's me.
about building worlds. Specifically, though, and realistically, it's not necessarily blabbering. We can even say pontificating, but showing really how we build a world step by step from beginning to end. And it's a practical approach. It's some way that you can basically say, okay, I am going to take this thing, which is, you know, um, particular, it really doesn't matter what it is, but our style of approach is saying, okay, we're going to take from end to end how to implement this in your world and build it. That's pretty much um,
Hmm.
pretty much the gist of it.
And while we do design the pieces of the world that can be used, really along the way we want to highlight the processes that we use to build those worlds, so that
Correct.
maybe it'll be helpful for you all as you're like creatively world building. Like take pieces or like ideas from that. Like last week, we talked about using a wiki page for keeping everything organized for your homebrew world, which is something Brian and I talked about before, but it's not something I've ever used. Like I showed off my briefcase that's full of absolute chaos. That was what I ran my old homebrew settings out of. So yeah, we're building worlds. Hopefully, teaching some process in between or learning some processes ourselves.
This is all a learning experience,
Mm-hmm.
y'all. This is um this is a learning experience that we are going to always come across, especially as dungeon masters and world
Mm-hmm.
builders. And I want to include a player in this because the title or category of player is a world builder because you do build your world by building your character. But this is going to take different approaches. So this is really just going to be a learning opportunity for all of us. TBH. So where should we begin then? I'm thinking,
Do we
as
want?
every good story begins at the end of another great story. So let's recap. We worked on the Artisans Guild last time, the Strong Palms Guild.
Yes.
Now, what we could do is maybe come up with something that's related to the Strong Palms Guild. Maybe we can come up with a competitor, or maybe, if I'm not mistaken, we have a fancy. Um, I'm pretty sure we have like a generator that we could use if you want to roll on that. You want
Yeah.
to do that?
Yeah. Let me switch screens over to where we can also see your screen.
Okay.
And those changes will be live now. Yeah,
Cool.
so we can see your Chrome tab, or looks like Chrome. Oh
It.
no, that's my Chrome tab, but it's streaming
Ah.
you. That's
Well,
why.
no, your Chrome tab. We can if you want to use your Chrome tab. I don't know why I'm calling it that. If you want to use your screen, we could roll on your screen and then switch over.
No, it should be. That's your OBS Ninja, so that should be showing off whatever you've got going on.
Oh, should I?
Yeah,
Yes.
it showed
Let
your
me let me close off this naughty unearthed arcana.
yeah,
Ooh,
yeah. Get rid of that.
we don't want that here. We homebrew all our stuff.
Yeah,
Just kidding.
more
We
like
homebrew and we borrow.
unearthed garbage. Am I right?
Wink. No, I'm
That's
kidding. We
the
love
quality
Wiz.
wordplay you get from me.
Just saying, Wiz Kids, we love you.
Was that from WizKids or Wizards of the Coast? Are they the same company? I had no idea.
No, it's Wizards of the Coast, but Wiz Kids, I meant to say Wizards of the Coast, but my
Uh
brain shorted out. My
huh.
bad, y'all. It's the stream. It's the echo. That's probably what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shame. For shame, Brian.
Nah.
All right. So, okay. So we worked on the dwarves last time. We built a
Hmm.
dwarven artisans guild. So we have right now humans, elves. We have another group of humans. Um, and we can go, we can keep going forward with it. Maybe we can show some love to our elves, to the elves of the world.
Sure.
All
Why
right.
not?
So let's see what we got here.
Nearby
Ooh.
trading partners. For some reason, it's not streaming that. There, I see this. Oh, perfect. Okay, cool.
Okay.
Yeah. No, we're good.
Cool. Because I sent you a link via Discord for an OBS reboot just in case.
Okay.
But
It
we
seems to
may not
be.
need.
It's popping up and showing your wiki now and then.
Okay, cool. So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna zoom in, and just like last time, y'all, we're gonna talk a little bit about elves. So elves in my world are the oldest race. This background information is really needed to build something. If you're gonna build something in your world, you want to make sure that there's the lore behind it, the information. I know you as an architect have or you had to have information before you build anything, right? You had to make sure that you had XYZ planned out. You can't just start designing something without a purpose or intent. Correct me if I'm wrong.
That seems about right. That's
Yeah, ish. Maybe. Maybe. I don't know.
definitely
Or do you roll
encouraged.
dice? How do architects decide what they want to design?
Um, well, I would love to give a romantic answer based on what the needs of the world are and how we're feeling that day, but ultimately it is determined by what clients approach us and then what sites are available. Um, Sites are highly restrictive, both in zoning code and just sizes.
Gotcha.
So the boring start to nearly every architecture project is how big of a parking lot can we put on this piece of land? And that number will determine if you can build a restaurant that's even the size of a restaurant, like even worth it, because everything based on buildings is determined by parking. And without going into even more boring detail than I already have, like if you can only park 3 cars, then your restaurant can only have 6 people, and no one wants to build that restaurant because it's not going to be financially worth it.
Gotcha.
Long story short, we roll dice. Let's roll dice for it.
All right. Let's roll dice for it. I'm gonna
uh,
roll a d12.
Yeah, the chat is clamoring for goblins, dragonborn, and more parking stories. So I'll D&D parking stream. Ooh, we can do that.
Ooh, wait, Dragonborn and goblins. Ooh, okay. This is what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
Pick between 1 and 10 or 11 and 20, and just keep that number in your head.
Yeah.
Okay. And then whatever number that set is, let's say I want you to assign Dragonborn or goblins to one of those sets.
Okay. Done.
Okay. Now we have a 9.
Okay.
So, again, hopefully you can see that. We have a 9.
Nope, but
So
I
what does
trust
that
you.
determine?
That gets us Dragonborn.
Boom. Love it. Love it. All right.
We'll put a
So
pin
we're
in the elves for later.
elves, get away from here.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Do you have a wiki page for Dragonborn?
Actually, it's on my OneNote, but let's do something that we have been. Let's actually show folks from top to bottom how we do this. Okay, so Dragonborn. I'm going to, oh, little cool emoji. We're going to go and we're going to start editing and making a Dragonborn page. Now, I'm going to bring some notes over from OneNote that I have because I'm a nerd like that and I use Microsoft Office.
Okay.
And let me see if I have. Okay, here you go. So we're going to bring in some notes from Terracona. This is a project I was working on, super secret. But we're going to kind of like siphon through some of these notes if they. Oh, cool. They transfer over. But this is essentially what Terracona is. It was going to be the Dragonborn world, right? It's their home world. It is where they kind of were born and raised. Now, I've been working and in contact with a certain professor because the reason I'm contacting this professor, I wanted to style this over feudal Japan. But unlike other predecessors or people before us rather
Mm-hmm.
that decided to do certain things that were kind of racist and kind of make like a generalization of Asian cultures, I wanted to get expertise from those, who have that knowledge. So just like you're an architect, I'm a historian. I wanted to contact a historian who would know Japanese culture, know the intricacies of it, and also know the different time periods that I want to relate this to.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to contact a professor in Tokyo. And we've had some dialogue here and there, and I'm not going to reveal who just because right now there's some things, projects that we're working on, so I don't want to reveal the name and anything
Mm-hmm.
of that nature, NDA, legal schmeagle stuff,
Yeah.
Not
Also,
schmeagle
I
as
would
in.
get jealous about hearing about you work with anybody else. So yeah, keep
Well,
that to yourself, sir.
I will keep it to myself. I will also never speak about it again.
Thank
They
you.
who shall not be named. But anyway, we started going through a couple of things, and because I haven't heard from them in a while, I don't want to keep pressing forward. But maybe what we can do this. Maybe we can take that this is the home of the Dragonborn, and
Mm-hmm.
maybe what we can say is, okay, these are the home of the Dragonborn, and maybe not assign a culture to it specifically.
Okay.
Maybe
Yeah,
what
yeah.
we do is that we say, okay, we take this information, we can remove some of the cultural nuances that really just don't matter
Mm-hmm.
necessarily, and we can kind of replace them with, okay, something completely generic that maybe is inspired by Slavic culture or this culture, but not necessarily taking it from the culture, if that makes sense.
I think this is going to
Um,
be a very good exercise in figuring out what stereotypes and what attributes are actually important and which ones aren't, because a lot of us probably have old worlds that we've written before that maybe were based on cultural stereotypes, or we
which
want to,
happens.
yeah, it totally happens, or we use something just like you had. We used a culture as a starting off point that kind of gets our inspiration going, and then it's kind of our duty to who come back to it and edit out those stereotypes. So I think this is a perfect. I think this is a perfect exercise for us.
For sure.
And
And let's be honest. Let's be honest with the folks. If you're planning to sell any of your world as a product or as a means of something on the DMs Guild or even other areas, I highly recommend that you want to have the lore of your world in the thing you built. Not saying you shouldn't, but you want to make sure that if you're going to sell this or if you're going to just play it, outside or even just play it within the like realm of your friends, you want to make sure that you're giving its, um proper homage to those other cultures or anything like that. Like for myself, I usually base things from uh, from a cultural perspective. I base it off things I know, things I've studied classically in university, things that I absolutely know and have read about.
mhm.
There's actually a couple of books that I can recommend, but we're not here for that. We're here for the world building part and the practicality of it. Because let's be honest, who has time to go through history textbooks and methodologies?
Phew, you
So,
do.
I know I don't anymore. Um, just saying. But in this regard, we're going to go through the history. We're going to go through a lot of the aspects of it. So let's do this. This beginning paragraph, I like to, again, novelization. I think it's really important to, if you think it's cool, your players might think it's cool, right? You want to make sure that captures their attention. Because if they're not interested in your world, they're not going to want to play in it. So, all right. So let's go forward. It is said that the dragon god Bahamut made a refuge for his children and named it Terracona. But in reality, Terracona was created when Basil the First, Dragon Lord and Emperor of Terracona, let's do that there, united the clans and fought off the invading giant hordes. So now we have a who, what, where, when, and why. Remember last time we spoke about that.
Yep.
Who? Basil the First. What was he known for? He was known for uniting the clans and fighting off the horde.
He's known for being really good on pizzas, an excellent herb to sprinkle around.
Yes, everything,
They
really.
fought off the evil dragon Tarragon.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Dude, okay, now we need to write an adventure.
Uh-huh.
I like it. Basil versus the evil dragon Tarragon.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, was Tarragon chromatic or metallic?
Yet to be seen. I would assume metallic, but you never know.
Okay, which is funny because the Unearthed Arcana Draconic backgrounds actually talk about the new chromatic, metallic, and gemstone Dragonborn. So interesting. Which again, this is where we would encourage you first create your world, and then add those elements from other sources that inspire you. You don't have to add everything. Just FYI, I always like to I really want to empower people to just have it in the back of their mind.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, united the clans against the giant hordes. So okay, we have a potential enemy now that is going to be a plot hook, so to speak, right? A story hook or a plot point where these giant hordes can maybe be attacking constantly. We don't know. And it was so as we go forward, it was he who met every clan leader and brought peace throughout the families. It was he who that united the forces under one banner, so on and so forth. This was probably during a time where I was really also inspired by Rhaegar from Game of Thrones. So there's a lot of this kind of flux in here. So at the moment when he won his last victory, where he established his empire, began ruling as the first emperor. He would go on to sire 13 quote unquote honorable children with his 3 wives and bodyguards. So now we're creating a society where multiple polygamy, so to speak, is now introduced. Which again, if your players are cool with it, again, rule of consent. You always want to make sure that this doesn't hit a nerve, so to speak, or just maybe something that your players don't want to deal with. Totally understand, but with my players, they were cool with it.
Brian,
they were cool with the story where his wife or his wives were also his bodyguards. So the same thing could also apply if it was the empress, right? And she wanted to take on multiple husbands. Well, they would be, her bodyguards. And if you think about it, it kind of makes sense, right? If that's your spouse and you love them, you're going to do everything to protect them. So now you have there's dual purpose. There's a lot of things you can work with in that regard.
Can I ask why honorable is put in quotes?
That's something where players would. So I put honorable because perspective, right? Honorable to one may be not being in a polygamous type relationship. Honor in this case, this is an honorable thing to have children with several wives, whatever. I mean, in this case, like it's a little different, but he basically sired all these kids. To them, it's honorable.
Mm-hmm.
To someone else, another, maybe the dwarves, they might not think that that's honorable. They may think that that's kind of you are living an adulterous life. So perspective, and this is the cool thing about this wiki. Add a comment, and we can do perspective. Because again, I know that I forget things. So we know that that is about perspective.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, the history of Terracona.
So if you're a Dragonborn or
Yes.
in this society and you're single, that pretty much just means that no one is willing to defend you in a fight.
I
You
mean,
don't have a bodyguard. You're single. No one jumps to your rescue.
yeah, it's a little weird. It's a
Gotcha.
little weird.
I'm into it. I like
Um,
it.
Now, remember how last time I said that names were really important?
Yes.
So, this is where I would say names are important. And this
Mm-hmm.
is what we can also modify. It's okay to modify things. Because as we go through the history of Terracona, Terracona as a nation, very specific, has been around for 3,000 years. It was unified under the first Dragon King, Rogar the Conqueror, which Basil the First, Dragon Lord and Emperor. Okay, there's a difference between the Emperor and the Dragon King. What we can do is we can say maybe they're related. Maybe Basil defeated Rogar. We can there's a couple of things we can think about. But what I like to do, I like to put a couple of spaces here. That's what I like to do just because now it separates. Maybe this is something I need to look into. Put a little asterisk there and say, okay, Rogar the Conqueror, is that going to be the same person, different name? Because just like in biblical terms, right? Names change. You know, Abram to Abraham. There's a significance there. So maybe Rogar to Basil is a name change that we want to consider. Um, I don't know what you think about that, but I like to put just a little note there just to make sure happy notes in honor and memory of happy trees.
Did you watch my... I did one episode and never did it again, but I did a Happy Little Dungeons video.
I do remember that,
Yeah, I
and
need to bring
I
that
think you should
back.
do more of them.
I probably should. I'm gonna
Who
try.
doesn't like happy dungeons? Just saying.
Apparently,
Apparently,
me, the guy who made
YouTube
it.
or Instagram.
Yeah.
Well, they're fools for not liking happy dungeons.
You
I mean,
know, that's what I always thought, to be honest with you. Alright, I
fools,
think
fool of a toque.
I made the screen a little bit bigger. Hopefully people in the chat can see it a little more.
Oh, why don't I do this? I'm gonna zoom in.
Oh, well, that's easier. I don't know why I covered up my wallpaper I made for this when you could have just been zooming in the whole time.
Well, I zoomed in now.
Alright.
We're playing around with this, folks. Appreciate your patience, really do. I'm a goofball when it comes to streaming. But let's hear it for my man's over here from Dungeon Tape. Hook being the mind behind the stream. I thank you for doing that.
No,
by the way,
my absolute pleasure. I'd been you and I would riff so well off of each other on your podcast and just in general chatting that I thought this would be a lot of fun, and it was in line with World Building Wednesdays, which you've been wanting to do anyway. So it was absolute blast putting this together. I mean,
appreciate that.
obviously, we're still having a few technical issues. I assume that the echo is still there. If someone wants to drop a line and maybe let me know if that's resolved itself. I don't know. But yeah, I enjoyed making this wallpaper. And Brian, I don't know if you noticed, but the top here, polydragonous is a good term. Polydragomus. Yep. And
What's the term?
polydragomus, like polyamorous, but with dragons. Polydragomus.
Okay. I don't even know. How would I spell that? Dragonus?
Dragamous. Yeah.
Polydragonus. Ooh,
Yeah.
I like that.
And I titled today's session The Dragonborn Identity, but I might have to change it to this.
I love that.
Ooh,
Witchy.
polydrag? Yeah, I'm into this. What if Dragonborns were just humans in drag this entire time, and they had like this, they created this whole fictitious race, but really it's just like, or elves, whomever.
You never know. I mean, they could be that. I
Yeah.
don't know. Um, find out next time.
Yeah.
No, I'm
Yeah.
kidding. Um, okay, so let's see. Okay, so there were before this, many of the Dragonborn clans who served their lords fought in many wars against one another, including the War of Many Scales. So that makes sense, right? The
Yeah.
War of Many Scales. There's the Dragonborn. There's the chromatic. There's the metallic gem.
It's just
Um,
dragons versus bards.
maybe they're just ripping awesome scales.
Yeah.
Um, but then now we have a War of the Petty Lords. So what does this mean? What are we trying to define here? Maybe again, perspective. Maybe this they thought that this was just a um maybe this was just weird, right? Um and maybe these lords were just petty and that's why they got into war. Don't know. But
That
anyway,
tracks.
these wars were specifically metallic versus chromatic, Bahamut versus Tiamat,
Mhm.
which again, right here, and let's put another note. Where? Let's not do that. Where were the gemstone dragons? So as you can see here, maybe now we have that question.
Mhm.
Where were the gemstone dragons? Maybe that's something we can answer later on. But that's a note that we can place right there as a place. Well, it's a placeholder. So they tried to take the seat of the Dragon Lord. Again, what were they trying to do? That answers the what. Now we're gonna, and then who with Rogar is gonna be that person. But again, who is Basil? Is that maybe a name change in there? Maybe there's that important name change that is so evident in other cultures. Maybe they've adopted this.
Mhm. I like the idea of instead of Rogar just being Rosemary with an H, RHO.
I mean, yeah, we could do that. It could be a seasoning themed
Hmm.
world build. To
Yeah,
be honest with you,
I mean, well, maybe because honestly, I think this joke is already worn out, and I'm gonna stop making it. But
you can
we'll,
make
we'll
all the jokes
we'll
you
put
want,
a
my
pin in
friend.
it.
So it honestly just goes through the battle and it goes through Terracona being united
Mhm.
and living and believing that basically and this is gonna go this is the deity, if I'm not mistaken, Io, and I've always pronounced it that way. So for the folks out there who actually know the lore, let me know if that's the correct pronunciation. But Io is the dragon, like that's the like god above like, so if Bahamut and Tiamat are gods, Io is like, or Io, I don't know. Io is like above that. It is
Mhm.
like, I don't even know if there's a gender identification there, but basically it's like ultimate god, so
Mhm.
to speak. So
And
Terracona has chosen to worship Io as the primary god, and Bahamut to be Io's chosen champion. So now we have a couple of other things. Now we have, clerical or clerics, paladins, and etc. dedicated to the service of Bahamut. Meaning that now, when we think about chosen champion, is Bahamut Io's paladin? We can think about that. We can decide that. Um, and Tiamat is to be the judge over hell. So now we're seeing that Tiamat is given worship over evil, kind of like Hades was, and Bahamut is kind of like, so if Io is Zeus, Bahamut is Poseidon, and Tiamat is Hades.
mhm.
Um,
Is
and
this?
that, I'm sorry?
Oh, I was just gonna say, and this level of detail of the backstory, is this something you would typically read to your players up front, or is this just available if they are looking to get more in depth?
Both. Because
Hmm.
what would happen is this. Um, what would happen is that if a player wants to be a Dragonborn, for example, in my world, in my current game, you're going to have to understand and know the history of your world. Just like we kind of have a base knowledge of American history. And again,
Mhm.
base knowledge because there are a lot of things that have happened within the span of our history that is just too much to handle and or it is just, you know, hasn't been taught in a while. Either way.
Mhm.
Um, this is the history that Dragonborns would be taught, right?
Uh,
They would be taught this from childhood. Now, when players want to learn more, this is where I could say, okay, you're not a Dragonborn, but you want to learn more, you can learn about this.
mhm.
And this is where I would read off. This is the beauty of having a wiki. You can give it to the player who's going to be the Dragonborn. You can give it to the player who wants to be a librarian. Excuse me. And maybe that's what they want. That's maybe all they want to do as a player. As a player character, they want to just be a librarian. So why not? This could be
Mhm.
available to them. This can be a tome that they read. So,
Which
um,
and reading tomes is the main reason most people play D&D, let's be honest.
absolutely. You don't think that I wear, a robe and I have a quill pen. I actually do have a quill that I use when I am playing in person. Um, just saying. I do. You think I'm joking. I will
Uh-huh.
take a picture and post it on my story tomorrow in the evening because if I do it now, then obviously defeats the purpose of the
Yeah.
stream. And just that ice crackly sound that you heard, folks, was a LaCroix. Nothing too serious, nothing crazy. Come
Boo.
on, y'all. I
Everyone in the
know.
chat is booing your choice of drinking sparkling water.
Well, maybe if I get, let's see.
Actually, they're talking about Zeus and his golden showers.
Nice. Well, I've heard that he's taken many a golden shower. But anyway, point is, so now we've divided and assigned roles to the gods. Bahamut is champion and ruler. I would say champion, and this is where maybe what we can do is because maybe Io or Eo.
Io seemed to be the consensus in chat.
Io, cool.
Sammy Bammy Fee Fifo Fammy agreed with that pronunciation.
Gotcha. So maybe what we can do is this: delete that. And again, I'm not too concerned about grammatic, syntaxes or anything like that. We're just kind of getting everything on paper, digitally, so to speak. So, champion, judge over hell, Io is the ruler. So many of the clans are specialized in a skill. So now we're moving on to clan structure, which again, you can use clans, you can use kingdoms, depending on your background and what you want to incorporate, go for it. If clan is a very, and I don't know what you think about this, man. I feel like the word clan is very generalized. It could be a clan of elves or a clan of dwarves or dragonborn, whoever.
Yeah, I think
But
it
it
is.
just signifies a family unit.
Yeah, it signifies to me a group with heavy familial bonds. Like there are
Yes.
family units that are not tight knit, but clans typically are. And so when I hear the word clan, I immediately start thinking of honoring ancestors. Like maybe it's more of a socialized society because they're planning for the future and it's slightly less individualistic. Communal living, like long cabins and stuff like that. That's kind of some of the imagery and aspects that I start to conjure when I think of clan, rather
I could
than
see that.
rather than a group of loose associates like my family and I. I'm kidding.
Well,
My family and I are very tight. That's just a joke. I'm sorry,
your
mom.
family's now watching this stream and they're like,
Yeah,
this son of
this will be
a
the
bitch.
one dungeon tape thing they turn into and hear that.
They'll be like, son of a bitch, we get what the
Uh
and then
huh.
they'll
Uh
throw the
huh.
computer across the window, They'll do
Yep.
no. Anyway, so clans. Now we're getting into clan structure. We're getting into the specialization of a skill. So maybe they're a blacksmith by trade. And their breath weapon has a unique skill set. And I changed it to intermarriage, not interbreeding. I use interbreeding because not to be really rude, but that's just what it is. You know, we come like humans do that in the real world. We like not to sound like dogs, but we breed and have children. Like we're mammals at the end. Like we are mammals. Like we do that. But in this case, this sounds a little nicer. So intermarriages, we've created multiple colors, right? Brass, bronze, scarlet, copper, green. And this, again, what I'm going to do here is highlight this and comment, add more colors and their specializations. So now what we're doing is we're leaving room for us to say, okay, brass dragonborns, bronze, scarlet. What does a scarlet entail? You know, we can almost go into like, honestly, like we could have a type of dragonborn that, you know, their breath weapon is, you know, specifically an element that may be weird, maybe different. Why don't, you know, we have lava? Why can't we use that element? We have mud. So why can't we have a dragonborn that spews mud and then it hardens like quickly so they're
Mm-hmm.
trapped in it? Same thing with lava. Or why can't we have, you know, I know we have we have fire, we have a bunch of different you know, breath weapons. We can have psionic with gemstones, and those
Mm-hmm.
psionic abilities can have different things, right? So again, that's just
Yeah,
there to be a
I would throw out
placeholder.
that like any cantrip, pretty much would be able to turn into a breath weapon.
Absolutely. So even the mixing of colors. So right, you know, we have, you know, indigo. Well, maybe that is inspiration. Maybe indigo is hope. Maybe,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and I'm kind of thinking like Green Lantern Corps, like the Indigo Tribe, or like the Blue Lanterns that give hope. Like maybe there's a Dragonborn that is using their breath weapon of like clerical hope.
They just
Like
walk around.
instead of a breath weapon, they sing. They sing
Oh,
something, and
I was thinking
people get
burping.
inspired.
Singing is much better.
Wait, what were
But
you thinking?
burping,
Well, maybe they burp and it comes out. You never know.
it could be true. Yeah.
You never know. Um, and actually, to add to that, so the Red Lantern Corps, if you read the Green Lantern books, they spew out red lava like blood. It's almost like acid, and
Mm-hmm.
they spew it out. That's part of their power. Like it burns everything and it catches everything on fire. So maybe that's what the Scarlet um Dragonborn do. They spew out this like acidy type fire, this, you know, that
Uh
just
huh.
instantly erodes something. Don't know. But
And then,
anyway, now we know about how, you know, they're strong, they're a very proud race. Um and again, Rogar. Why did we use Rogar? Well, Rogar maybe is a name change, established a unified yada 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 yada. So we go in and we continue. And we see how they fight, right? They have many enemies, including the
mhm.
frost giants and orcs of the north. So, and that's where I should put that here. Frost giants and
So
orcs, fire giants to the south. So now we know that they have a main enemy, frost giants. And maybe, you know what? Let's do this. Um, let's make it simpler. Frost giants to the north and fire giants to the south. They
perfect.
have giants as their main enemy. We don't want to throw orc in there because now it's like, oh my gosh, now everyone's attacking them.
Hmm.
And honestly, from a story perspective, it's not balanced.
And
So,
so at this point, you've started getting into a little more detail with them, with like their normal
yep,
enemies, and you've started actually giving some geographical context with the different giants.
yep.
Um, at what point do you see, what am I trying to ask here? It's like, at what point do you say, all right, cool, this is enough detail for my players, and then like you kind of like leave the rest for them to build, or like to build alongside their stories, or is there ever a good point? Do you just keep going? I
I
forget what's
think of
the
it like this,
yeah, yeah.
and you might know this as an architect.
Hmm.
how do you build a larger, taller pyramid?
You start at the top.
Well, if you are a true believer, you believe that aliens built that. But anyway,
Hmm.
um, no. Well, yes, and I get the way I think about it is like this. You have to have a large foundation and base
Hmm.
in order to build a really nice, big, tall pyramid.
Okay.
So I give them as much information as possible. As we go down, I
Hmm.
give them the style of government. I give them, what each clan they're in, what their regions
Hmm.
practice, right? So there's southern and northern dragonborn that are a little bit different culturally. Um, there are economic things that they believe in. What's their government like? What is their clan structure?
Interesting.
Their
See.
what's their religion? What are the gods that they worship and their
Hmm.
children as time? What are the what's their economy like? What's their education? The war of many scales. That's a really big part of
Hmm.
it. But basically, I give them enough information where now all they have to do is simply just pick and choose what they want.
Hmm.
So,
Interesting. This is where we differ as DMs, especially with world building. Generally, I would do something like the first paragraph here, just general like the lore overview, like what all the Dragonborn children are taught, like keep it real concise, and then maybe I would make like outline one small Dragonborn clan and just kind of say this is indicative of the people or of the whole group, and then
so let's
any
do
other
that then.
details I would just whenever the players come up with something they're like, oh, I instantly hate that orc that walked in because Dragonborn hate and orcs have been fighting for centuries. I'm like, all right, well that's in the backstory now, and then we can start
So,
riffing on that.
and I do that, but
Okay.
what I do is that I make sure that the base. So I make sure to give all my players everything that they would want, and from there, what
Hmm.
they do, they can say, well, you know what, I'm part of this clan,
Hmm.
and this clan, kind of like to your point, we don't like orcs. We've been fighting with them for centuries, so that's canon. Again, that's canon for your clan. Might not be canon for someone, so for another family. So you know what? Actually, let's do that. Let's, with the Dragonborn information, let's go ahead and add another page and what clan name should we come up with? Let's come up with like a hmm.
Okay. Well, first of all, is the clan single colored or multicolored?
Okay, let's do this.
What do you
We're gonna
think?
roll a d20.
Okay.
Same principle.
Okay.
1 through 10
Yep.
and 11 through 20. You're gonna pick chromatic or metallic.
Got it.
Okay. Let me know which one you've, I guess, decided, because I got a 6.
Ooh, then chromatic.
Ooh, awesome. Okay, so we're gonna do this.
Mm-hmm.
Let's think of a name for the dragon. Do we? And this is where culture brings into play.
Yeah.
Originally, I was thinking, okay, maybe some Japanese inspiration, but I don't want to go that route now.
Mm-hmm.
I actually like the Rogar, the name that kind of like it gives me more
Mm-hmm.
Byzantine type flair, where it's kind of a mix. You know, the
Uh-huh.
Byzantines were the combination of East and West back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
It was really when the Roman Empire collapsed. The Byzantine Empire still lay, they were there for 1,000 more, they maybe not 1,000, but they were
Mm-hmm.
there for a longer time. Um,
Well, here's the thing. We had talked about last week as far as names, like names being taken through different languages and their tongues. So maybe
True.
chromatic is like the common version of where this clan kind of came from. So maybe it starts with a chromagon or something like that. I mean, yeah. Or something that could be throughout time stretched to be chromatic.
I like that. I like that a lot.
It would also make it a little easier for players to remember who's who if like they kind of have some of the same consonant and vowel structures.
So how would you spell that then? Because I have variations that I was thinking of,
Uh-huh.
but how would you spell it?
Probably start it with a K.
Oh, okay. So a little different.
Yeah, yeah. Chrome, maybe. Yeah, I like that.
Hmm.
Adric, chromadric.
I like that. Woof. I like that,
I
bud.
don't want to
Okay,
brag, but ooh, I think I got
that
that
was
one. Yeah.
cheers. Let's get
Yeah.
some I know, get some emojis in the chat. What do we do when someone ooh, we need to think of something like maybe some like a hype train. I don't know. I'm just naming stuff that I know from Twitch. I have no clue. As you can tell, there's probably an echo and it's probably shit, right? I don't know. I'm beating myself up for this, guys. I'm really sorry.
I think we're doing okay. Um, but yeah, so this is just to kind of pull it all back a little bit. So we're designing the Dragonborn race for our game, more or less, or really for this world that you've been working on. And so we started with some of the lore of the dragons, introduced some specific figures in there, and kind of where they are. And now we're trying to figure out how they've been interacting with society, uh, like kind of through their name right now. So we're just kind of going through the motions of how to create an entire race, make it draw, or I should say, draw inspiration from real cultures, but weed out any stereotypes and stuff like that. Stuff that we don't really need to prove our point.
Yeah. So right now with Chromagic, the Chromagic Coalition or the
Ooh.
Chromagic Federation,
How
maybe
would
they're a
dragons?
group of
Yeah.
all the chromatic dragons.
hmm
What do you think?
I mean, I feel like dragons only have like a loose association with other dragons, right? So
Mhm.
it might just be a confederacy.
Ooh. Uh, with a C or with a K? How would we want to spell that?
Probably with another K. Why not? We'll make it fancy.
The Chromatic Confederacy.
I'm into it.
Okay, so now we're gonna do Dragonborn to understand that they are that.
Yep.
All right, so now,
And we should quickly put a subtitle that says like very unlike the Confederacy of the South. This is a in the
very not so
truest
that.
governmental
This is
sense. It's more like the Confederacy of the Iroquois tribes early on in the North Americas.
Yeah, this is, and that's the cool thing. What we can do too is say, okay, we're gonna put a title here, boom, and what we're gonna do is that we're gonna modeled after, um, ooh, maybe we can a
Mhm.
modeled after a loose alliance
Yep.
where clans united. And you know what? Let me do this. Let me
hmm
do that.
But
Clans.
even though we're spelling everything with a K, let's leave clan with a C.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
Yep.
we
Let's not do
don't.
that one.
Yeah,
I don't
that's where
want
the
to
C
get
is.
banned from Twitch.
Oh, I mean, Sammy makes a good point. Maybe it is the Chromadric Clan Confederacy, all Ks.
No, let's not do that, y'all. Um, I don't want to stoop down to that level. Um, nope. That's a no from me, dog.
That's a big no for me.
Yeah. So all right. So they're modeled after. So maybe they're a loose alliance of clans, um, united for a goal or purpose. Now, my question would be again, what's the goal? that's if we want to even go this route. We don't have to go this route. And instead of modeled, a loose alliance. Let's just do that.
Yeah.
So Chromagic Confederacy, the loose alliance where clans are.
I think maybe their goal is just survival instead of like a developed goal or something like that. It would just be survival
Okay, I like that.
because we
So a
also want to
loose.
avoid the terms ultimate goals and anything similar.
That's true. That's true. So basically, it's a loose alliance of clans united for survival.
Yep,
Okay,
I think that
so
works
that's
great.
a very simple. However, what does this entail? So I would even say, like, who are the leaders? What is their role in the uh, Confederacy? Oh, maybe we can do the Confed. It's like the chromatic Confederate. The H is silent. No, let's not do that. Confederacy, but the H is silent. No. Who are the leaders? What is their role in their Confederacy? Where are they located?
And the where
Uh,
could just be general terrain context. It doesn't have to be a specific country. It could just be mountains, plains, desert.
yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. Southern or northern, right? Are they going to
Mm,
be like
we can't keep coming back to Civil War terms. Let's go
no,
east
no,
or
no, no,
western.
but from a hemisphere, because the thing is, it's like, okay, are they are they in the south in which the climate's warmer
Right.
and therefore like their perspective on life is going to be probably not as angry in the regards of like, okay, we fight fire giants, but the fire giants are maybe on an island where
Mm-hmm.
the volcano is, and they're not going to really cross a large body of water unless they build a massive ship, and
Mm-hmm.
we haven't had to fight them in years. So, we're good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Versus like up in the north where there's mountains and there's a mountain pass that has to be crossed to get into the other continent, or maybe it's an island nation and maybe that they are just by themselves, but the mountains they continuously have to fight these creatures. Because then what we can do, excuse me, is this is how we can connect the Dragonborn and the dwarves. Remember last time we spoke how the dwarves fought the giants and pretty much pushed them back.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe this is how they gain an ally with the dwarves, because the dwarves have the technology and they have the knowledge on how to fight these giants. But anyway, um, so when did they unite? Maybe we can say so. This is more time focused
Yeah.
versus, when are they meeting or anything of that nature. Who, what, where, when, and then
Mm-hmm.
why did they unite? Or rather, why did they um, choose one another? So, why did these specific clans come together? Why did this group of people come together? So, what we can do, what would you think about numbering them?
Yeah, we could do that.
Okay. Just presents a little bit more organization. Um,
I mean, if that's what you're going for in a organized system of world crafting, then sure. I
I mean,
thrive in the chaos and jazzy nature of loose information that could sift from
well,
one place to another and apply to whomever, but
you're an artist, my good
uh,
friend. So, and my artistic nature has gone away. Sad look. Just kidding.
mm.
It's still there. But anyway, so who are the leaders? So,
And
how
actually,
many leaders should we have?
this is a good time to address this because
Hmm.
Sammy brought up would it be ranking, and I think that's a good question because maybe we should rank these, double check what's the order that we want these in because right now they're in who, what, when, where, why, which is just the order in which we remember those questions. But I would
Sure.
almost argue that terrain would be first.
Okay.
Then maybe why did they? So maybe when is first, then why, and then we get into who. right?
Okay. So why don't we do this?
Yeah. So I just
So let's
before. Yeah.
copy and paste some stuff, shall we?
Yeah. Yeah.
So where? Remove that.
Yeah.
And then why you said was
I
next?
think so, and that's obviously a suggestion. I'm not,
No, you're twisting my arm now. Don't worry. It's
well,
okay.
just paste it second there, Brian. Jesus Christ.
Oh no. Dang it.
Oh,
Oh no, that's part of the same question.
oh yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, yeah. We're good.
Thanks for judging.
Well, I'm sorry. You
It's
don't
okay.
deserve it. You're doing a fantastic job, and
No, I'm not. I
this
suck at it.
podcast would be
I suck.
nothing without you.
I was I was gonna say my normal speech and my normal vulgarity, but I was
Mm.
like, maybe not. Maybe the chat's not ready for that because I am really bad about cursing and whatnot and saying vulgarities. So maybe we're not there yet. Maybe chat. Maybe next Wednesday when we stream,
hmm
pick the drink that I should have. I have a bunch of scotches and liquors that I can
hmm
bring.
You're not all
Maybe
hyped
have
up on
maybe I
LaCroix?
can have a cigar while we stream. I don't know.
Sure. Won't
My
affect my
wife would
asthma.
kill me.
Chat seems to
Maybe.
encourage you here.
See, thanks, chat. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll start out with the pipe because I don't want to I don't want to have my second bedroom smell like a humidor.
Hey, that's up to
I
you.
actually do.
Well, then I say go for it.
True. I'm gonna listen to chat. So, chat. Maybe you pick Scotch whiskey, bourbon. I don't know. You pick that. I'll have it next time, and I'll have a nice cigar with me. Anyway.
I'm also going to throw Malort in the mix for Brian, so everyone pick Malort.
Okay. Alrighty. I'm looking at some stuff here. I like it so far.
Yep.
I like the structure. I like the terrain. So, all right, let's think about this.
hmm
Where do we want them set then? Where would we think? Because again, actually, something we can because that's part of their personality, right? Their geographic location's going to affect their personality. Just like Russians, that live in Siberia have been known to be tougher. They've been known to there's a cultural nuance in which they had to survive. So you had to be tough
hmm
in
hmm
personality and in physical trait. So what do we want them to be? Do we want them to be, they're a loose alliance. So maybe, I don't know, maybe they're in a warmer climate.
Maybe, but maybe not like super warm. I'm almost thinking nomadic. Like maybe they're plains dragons, plains and hills, like kind of temperate. Thinking like North and South Dakota-ish. Is that called? Is that temperate? Am I getting that wrong?
With plains and hills. Okay. And actually, chat, you can help us with this, but I like the plains and hills Dragonborn.
hmm
Ooh, then you know what? In order to get there, they probably have bred horses or some sort of horse type creature
hmm
to sustain their weight and therefore like move across the land.
Nice.
So, Plains and Hill Dragonborn, raise and cultivate. What type of Oh, like drakes.
Drakes would be cool.
Drakes
I was thinking
to
super huge ants, but Drake's is probably better.
I mean, hey, we can actually have. See, we should say that for the drow. When we
Mm,
create drow, maybe they ride on super big ass ants,
I like that.
um, and that's part of like their ant colony. Like the drow
Yeah.
maybe have like an ant colony. Ooh, okay, we're
What's your
focusing on
what's
Dragonborn. We can't get distracted.
I mean, real quick aside, what's your favorite rider and beast of burden combo that you've put together?
Oh, for my Goliath,
Yeah, what did your Goliath
absolutely.
ride?
So the Goliath basically ride. You know how Odin has the 6 or 8 legged horse?
Yeah.
They ride a variant of that in which it's um so I think Odin's steed, I forget the horse of Odin, but basically it's like 6 feet They
Uh-huh.
weigh like, I don't know, like 600-700 pounds, and I forget the pronunciation of it, but they basically ride these things. The Goliath in my world are nomadic for sure. Like
Hmm.
they're think of like the Dothraki or like in Conan and Barbarian. I really styled them after that. Now, actually, if Charles, aka the Hawaiian Gygax, is still in the chat,
He is.
he actually had an amazing um he has an amazing system, which I think he's incorporated his own culture, I believe, with the Goliath, if I'm not mistaken from our previous conversations. But he did this really great thing where they were Maori inspired, and they had a lot of the great cultural references to that. So if you want to learn more about that, hit Charles up. He knows a lot about he knows a lot about that. And he's a good ear to listen to. So shout out to him. Love you, buddy. But all right, so they raise and cultivate drakes to ride. So
Yep.
maybe their lifestyle is surrounded by the drake, right? So maybe do you think that they would use them to hunt as well? Like they wouldn't hunt drakes, but they would use them to hunt. They'd use them to ride. They'd pretty much they'd have like a writer and they'd have like this type of relationship. That's the word.
Yes. Kind of a symbiotic relationship between the two. Much like dogs and humans, perhaps. Even more so than horses and humans.
Okay. So you said symbiotic.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the right term, but it's getting close.
Uh,
Charles wants us to eat the drakes.
I
Or wants the
mean,
Dragonborn to.
well,
I mean,
that's a possibility though.
that was something that you and I talked about a little bit with your dwarven culture. I don't know if that was on the podcast or last world building episodes. I forget.
It was last stream. So
Was it?
one of my players, she is a boar rider, and the boar riders not only raise boar, but they'll eventually eat the boar because again, after the boar have tasted battle, after the boar have raised plenty of offspring, well, maybe that boar is going to go out a certain way, and they don't want them to suffer. So out of respect, they're going to eat that boar. But what's going to happen is that they maybe now believe that the spirit of the boar is with them, and the
Mm-hmm.
spirit and energy of the boar, kind of like they take the heart of the boar and they eat it to get all the power and energy. Maybe we can do something like that here, where the what they do is that they don't specifically hunt drakes. So
Mm-hmm.
like, or they don't raise them for food primarily. So like the boar riders raise them in a kind of a balanced way. They're
Mm-hmm.
food, they're beasts of burden, they are beasts in which you go to war with. There's a lot of different. So maybe the drakes instead are just like it's almost like I would actually like to think of it like this: the drakes and the dragonborn have this close bond
Uh-huh.
where not you wouldn't necessarily hunt them for food, but you're gonna be the one to put them out of their misery if something happens. Or
Yeah.
maybe they're so remember Avatar, not the last Airbender, but blue alien people.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we have something like that where basically there's a deep spiritual connection. If they die,
Mm-hmm.
then the dragonborn dies.
Ooh. I like making that extra little connection there.
Let me put my glasses like an anime. Just kidding. All right, so if and again, if the rider dies, so does the drake.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's do that.
Yeah. And
And
so,
what do you think about that so far? Anything else we should add from a terrain perspective?
um, no, Charles brought up a good question about food. If they don't eat the drakes, maybe there's Plains creatures that are big enough to sustain both, like the buffalo or something like that. And then that's just pretty much what they hunt. Or
Well, yeah,
giant
so we can
elk.
put hunter-gatherer.
Yeah.
Um, and then what would they hunt? So, and again, that's what I like. What would they hunt? So, what we could possibly do as well is maybe they. So, wait, there's hunter gatherer, and then there is. Well, maybe they haven't begun farming just yet. Maybe they're not at that period in life. So, what
They
we
might
can
also
probably
just not
say,
care to. They might just
huh?
be, they might not care to. They might be one of those cultures that, like, obviously has seen some industry and some farming, and they're just kind of, meh, not for us.
Yeah,
Ooh,
I like that.
yeah. Charles had a good suggestion of manticores. That'd be a good thing to hunt.
And then maybe the warrior or hunter
Hmm.
enters their adult stage by hunting their first uh, manticore.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then maybe the hunter warrior who basically who bags, let's just say that, the largest manticore is given a title.
Hmm. This is reminding me more and more of Klingon culture,
Okay, yeah. Yeah, that's true. I could see that. Um,
which was based on not dissimilar to Japanese, but it was more Mongolian, if I remember right.
well, the Mongolian Empire was a large and amazing
Yeah.
empire. I mean, uh, and if I'm not mistaken, the pronunciation is actually Genghis Khan, not Genghis Khan.
Is it? Oh, I
Genghis.
said Klingon from Star
No, no,
Trek.
no. I'm saying
Oh,
Mongolian, like so the Khan,
uh,
because again, that's because this is because now I'm thinking, okay, is this really like based on the Iroquois like that we talked about, or is this
mhm.
now is this the potential for an empire? Is this the empire that Rogar started or formed, right? Where he came together, united one
Mhm.
clan. That's where this is the beauty of world building, where we start to say, wait a minute, you know, and even actually this. Let me do this really quick. I'm going back, and we're gonna just do this. Rogar the First.
Mhm.
There. Made that little change because I said, you know what, Basil sounds too formal.
Mhm.
If we're making clans right now who perhaps came from a hunter gatherer perspective, Rogar, and that's where we can change Rogar to Basil later.
Ah.
Rogar essentially is the name of the Dragonborn that was known as the Conqueror. Basil is the name of the Emperor.
Mm.
Not that both are good or bad,
Mhm.
it's just the name change that occurs when something's given meaning. Maybe what happens is that Bahamut bestows the name change, right? Like in
Mhm.
Judeo-Christian principle, you had Abram into Abraham. Uh, you know, I think it's Jacob into Israel, so on and so forth. There's that name change. So maybe in this regard, and just like kings have had name changes and other religious figures, they've had name change to signify something. So
Yeah.
maybe this is where we get into. But okay,
Maybe
so
your
maybe
first year as a leader, when you don't travel with the seasons, you're sedentary for a full year. You get a name change, and that denotes a different style of life, different lifestyle.
ooh, I like that. So wait, so let's do this though. So I liked that a lot. And then let's do this.
Basil just means lazy. I like that.
It could be. I mean, and I mean, if that's actually what it means, I mean, yeah, possibly. But there's remember, D&D does not have you do not have to signify anything that you haven't. Like you can basically say, you know what? So Brian means strong and honorable in the English language. In your world, you can make that sound however you want it, and you can make it mean something else. You can make it mean something derogatory. Hopefully not. No, you don't use my name. Um, you can make it do whatever. So okay, let's go from here. So they raise and cultivate drakes. They hunt, they hunt manticore. That's
Hmm.
one of their main things. Now, what do you think that they would gather? Because wouldn't you think that would essentially um, kind of form them, or do you think that's important?
Hmm. Let's give them kind of a craft
Ooh,
or profession that would be catered to nomadic cultures. So maybe I'm thinking like maybe
yeah.
not to keep harping back to this. This is kind of a coincidence, but like herbalist or something. Maybe like
I
a
was just gonna,
perfumist.
s- I was just gonna say maybe they should be an herbalist, but
Yeah,
they grow some 420 fantasy. You
yeah.
know what
There
I'm
we
saying?
go. I was thinking more incense oriented, but I like the
I'm
420
think I'm
fantasy.
I'm thinking basically what they do,
Hmm.
they grow some like really strong. And again, I'm not encouraging anything. I don't really care.
Fuck it,
But
I'll
again,
encourage it. Do it all. Do the drugs, kids.
no, I just see like our stream just get flushed down the toilet. I don't. It's all good. I don't care. You are a responsible person.
Yeah,
You do you, boo boo, is what I
exactly.
say. What
But
you
yeah,
can do
maybe
instead of druggos is you can subscribe, you can follow us on Twitch,
exactly.
and then do whatever you want. I don't care. Anyway, so herbalist.
So maybe they do gather drugs and maybe they do use them for some of their own rituals, but they can sell them at the different towns and cultures that they meet along the way through their nomadic lifestyle. Because like maybe it's a lot of stuff that these places can't get in the mountains or their cities. They're just kind of outdoorsy things, and so that's kind of how they make some gold to survive on whenever they need to.
Okay. Maybe so maybe maybe like the druids come together. Like again, if we're gonna create like a dragonborn druid
Hmm.
from this specific area, is known for gathering herbs to go on like spirit journeys, or maybe the cleric does uses that for spirit journeys. But then maybe a dragonborn from this specific area, who's a ranger, is actually, oh, I got this really bad cut
Hmm.
from a manticore. I'm gonna chew this herb up and I'm gonna put it on the and just to kind of buy me time while I go to the healer.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
something like that. Okay, cool. I like that. I think that's actually solid. All right, so let's go with why did they unite? Let's and I think it's something, you know, I think this is going to be more important, like
Hmm.
why did they choose one another as a clan?
Hmm.
So well, historically speaking, you would usually do it because of familiar ties.
Yeah,
That's number one. They would have some sort of family connection, like, oh,
yeah.
you're my cousin's, you're my third cousin. Okay, you're in.
Uh-huh. Purely
Oh, you're my best
linguistic.
friend. You're in.
Yeah. I mean, why they stayed together might be linguistics, like why they didn't join up with other groups. Um,
Okay, also linguistics, cultural references,
mhm.
and similarities.
They had the same sense of fucking humor, so I thought, I might as well hang out with this guy.
Well, it's like, hey, you know what? Like,
Those those fucking elves never get my joke, so I'm here.
yeah, you know what? They could be like, you know what? Those elves are bone dried. They have no sense of humor. So what are you gonna do about it?
Yeah.
We're gonna go right over here.
Hey,
Hey ma, you got some manticore ready? I'm starving.
hey, dragon
Yeah,
ma, dragon ma.
yeah.
Dragonbrine's
Like,
at the door. Says he needs some more fucking Manticore spikes, huh?
Manticore. Now they're Italian. Now they're really bad Italian from Brooklyn or from the Bronx.
Yeah.
We'll see. Now, all right, y'all. We're gonna delete all this and we're gonna make them into Italians.
Yeah, so
All
that's
right,
how you
no.
world build. You do it, and then you delete it.
And then you redo it, and then you hate
Uh-huh.
yourself for redoing it. No, so
um,
okay, so cultural references and similarities. Maybe I mean accents can be something that they have for example, the Basque region in Spain has no similarity to France or Spain, but they seek their own independence out.
mhm.
Actually, that's where my mom's family's from. Like, is from the Basque region, where my father, he's Catalan. So there's a huge difference culturally in those two.
Uh-huh.
They would typically never get married to one another, but they did, and now, like 37 years later, they're still married.
Mhm.
But they have huge cultural differences. Like the Catalan and the Basque are completely different in way of
Mhm.
thinking, and way of life. So that's where something we can add into here. So
Mhm.
they have, so maybe instead of accents, way, way of life.
Mhm. Which would include
They
important
maybe
things like when is the dinner time? How much bread do you eat?
food,
Yeah.
music, art, religious worship, not workshop, worship. Because the workshop is this Saturday at 3 o'clock Eastern time that I will be hosting.
Yeah.
Shameless plug. You can click the link in my bio on Instagram to sign up.
All
Limited
right.
spaces. Just saying.
Mhm.
But yeah, and like worship. Oh my gosh, worship.
There you go.
See, I'm just I'm thinking about this workshop.
Yep.
My goodness, what am I gonna do? I don't
On
know. Forget about it.
Hey,
All right.
on this note of the workshops and such, I would like to point out that we have been doing this for an hour and a half, and we kind
Yep.
of generally
Yep.
tell people 2 hours. So we've
Usually.
got a 30-minute
Usually.
countdown.
Do the people not get that we're doing a 12-hour stream? Yeah, what? No, I'm kidding. I'm
No,
kidding.
the people don't, and included in those
I'm
people
kidding.
is me.
No, we're not doing a 12-hour stream because I am tired.
Yep. I hope you're ready for the last 10 hours just me snoring.
We're going to have the coffin dance in the background and we're just going to be sleeping. Maybe
Sure.
we should just stream that.
I
Maybe we
mean,
should just, ooh,
there was, I forget what band it was, but in the earlier days of Spotify, there was a band that released a completely silent album, but it was still like 3 hours long with like the different songs. And they basically told all their fans, hey, put this on while you're sleeping, like put it on repeat. And they did. And just purely through plays, people would play it, 6 to 8 hours at a time. And they like made a decent amount of money just by doing that like shtick with a
that's
perfectly silent
genius.
album. Yeah.
Maybe what we should do is have a stream where we're reading like Chronicles of Narnia or like Lord of the Rings
Okay.
and just be like, hey, just put this on while you're sleeping.
Yeah.
You're good.
I'm
I
down with
like that
that.
idea. Next piece of content. All right. So food, music, art, religious worship. So maybe they have all that similarity,
hmm
all those similarities.
Yeah,
I think that's really good.
I think so.
They have familiar ties, they have language connections,
Yep.
they have those cultural references. Um,
And that's like
so
those are good categories for players to riff off of with the DM. Like if they kind of understand how these different groups are connected, they can say, "Oh, because the name I came up for myself is like I had an old character named Korkunk, something like that." And then you could say, "All right, well that was a family name," and then the DM says, "Oh, you dust off a grave and it has that on it, or a version of that." And so, like, that's
yeah,
kind of
I like
how
that.
players and DMs can use these different. Basically, we're just making bonds and flaws, like of these different world of these races and stuff like that, and then riff off of each other because that's a huge part of how we've always described D&D, which is collaborative storytelling.
Yeah, no, absolutely,
Yeah.
and that's exactly what it is. Um, I like that explanation,
Hmm.
man. Really good.
And yeah,
Um,
I like the food stuff because then one of the players could just be like, "All I do is eat tomatoes, and I hate tomatoes. All of my family hates tomatoes." And then the DM can pick up on that and be like, "Ah, you must be from this region."
or maybe it could be like we make a manticore chili that's like
Yeah,
really good.
yeah,
Maybe we use some because manticores are venomous as well, correct?
yes.
Maybe we use some of the venom in the chili.
I
It's
think
like a
that's a
rite
good
of
plan.
It's another rite of passage. Maybe what we're doing
You have to
is
win a chili cook-off. Yep, that's what it is. That's the
maybe
rite of passage. You have to kill a Manticore. That's first. But the harder test, the real tough one, is winning the chili cook-off. You got to get that blue ribbon, bro.
that's right. Right. Let me write that there. Okay, so who are the leaders? And I specifically said leadership structure. So is there a chief? Is there some sort of chieftain? Is there like a head priest or priestess? Is there a druid? What
Hmm.
is the how is this organized? I don't know. I don't want to know who as in the person, right? I want to know who as in what's the structure? So what are the
Okay.
titles?
Can I throw something weird out there?
Throw it.
Okay. I'm going to suggest almost, I want to say four branches of, like, a leadership that's divided into four. And the leaders have different roles based on the seasons. So maybe
Ooh.
like because they're nomadic and in tune with nature, I'm kind of thinking like maybe the spring leader is always like they're tasked with coming up with like new ideas and generating new things. The summer leader is tasked with like trying to capitalize on those. And then like fall and winter maybe like their job is to cull away the ideas that aren't working and like really hone in on stuff. What do you think about something
Okay.
like that?
So I like it. So let's do this.
Oh, Charles had a good one of just of wartime chiefs and religious leaders. That's a much simpler way of doing it.
So why don't we do this? Hold on.
Maybe like the transitional seasons, like spring and fall. Maybe they're religious, and then but the summer and winter
Yeah,
are like
I'm
war leaders. Sorry, I'm throwing all this at you,
that
and you're typing. I
no, 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 no,
apologize.
no. That's because that's actually what I was thinking.
Okay, cool.
Peacetime.
Yeah, and that might be another big reason for the Confederacy and why they kind of like teamed up together is because it was such a huge hassle to fight during the springtime. And like everyone just ran out of food and starved, and that was terrible for everybody. So they're like, cool, like peacetime, like their war and peace seasons were based around agriculture.
Well,
Like
the
the
Norse did
like,
that. The Norse had a
did
raiding
they?
season, and the thing
Ah,
is that they raided in the spring and the summer, and they were ending the raid in the autumn time because the winter. So they needed to have everything for the autumn into winter because it was cold. They
uh,
can't do anything, and no one's traveling anywhere. Not at least not a lot of people. So when you broke, so like if so there so under like generally understood time of
mm,
peace between all the clans.
yep,
If broken, automatic war declared.
yeah,
So basically, that means like, hey, you know what? Like, if you decide to break this peace treaty, between us Dragonborn of this clan,
yeah,
oh, you're done.
yeah.
Like, immediate war.
If the blue dragons attack somebody else, then all the colors, all the chromatic dragons come down on blue.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then wartime. Now, are they warring with themselves? And that's not the. Are they warring with themselves or with others?
Mm. It
We
might
don't
just
know,
depend
but
on
it's
the year.
okay.
Yeah.
We don't have to know because the beauty of this is that, like, that's not a question we have to answer. The players can answer this, right? This is
Yeah.
where we're giving them the foundation and they can answer it.
Yeah.
So, and I
Yeah.
think this is
A
where
lot of world building is just creating the structure for questions for your players to fill in the blank of. Yeah, absolutely. I like that a
Questions that
lot.
they can answer.
Yep.
Excuse me.
I thought we had 10 more hours to do, Brian.
I know. We're gonna probably wrap it up at 11.
You've been
It's
pounding those LaCroix. You're drunk.
I know I am LaCroix drunk. I don't even know. I don't even know who I'm talking to. Am
That's
I even
fair.
on a stream? What's a stream?
You're
All
not
right,
on a good
y'all.
one,
Good
that's
night.
for sure. Oh yeah, Charles asked a
Okay.
good question. Resources dependent.
What's the question?
Just resources dependent, kind of like that might fit in with the war or peacetime.
Yeah. Oh, so that's another thing.
Yeah, like they can't go to war if they haven't built up enough resources. Or maybe if, I don't know, maybe another aspect of the Confederacy is if one of the groups has a drought and they're out of food, and so the other clans have to like donate to them, and that's a way of avoiding war. I don't know. But yeah, resources and resource scarcity would be probably
So maybe
very
during this
common.
time they share resources. Maybe they raid for resources during wartime. So maybe they don't go
Oh,
to
okay.
war with like another clan or another member of
Yeah,
the clan.
yeah.
But what they do is that they raid for resources from like, or maybe this is usually when the fire giants attack,
Yeah,
right? So they have to raid for resources so that they can fight them. And
yeah.
then this is where they're sharing resources so that people can survive for the next spring.
Mm-hmm. It'd be
Because then
cool.
what? Mm-hmm.
Oh, I was just thinking, like, it'd be really interesting in like a situation like that to where these cultures, like, they notice over time that the fire giants like attack at certain times of the year and certain times of the month, and like maybe like they eventually figure out that that's tied to like the moon or like the lunar calendar and the pull
Yeah.
of that, and so it's like then they kind of learn a little bit of astrology just based on being attacked by these like more elemental groups. I don't know if we need to type that, but I just kind of like that as an idea riff. What's up, Cocoa Bean? Sorry, my cat's running around yelling.
Oh, have the cat join the stream, man.
Yeah, you think she would like that? You don't know my kitty.
Yes.
All right.
Listen, I had a cat at one point.
Mm-hmm.
Her name was Roxy.
Nice.
GG. Rip. She decided to go on past the Rainbow Bridge.
So
Oh.
my cat's very vocal. She often purrs and screams, so don't think that this is just torture.
Yep.
No, but this is little Bane.
Kitty, we love you, but
Mm-hmm.
you probably don't love us. You're like, put me down, Dad.
She's pretty indifferent to everybody, but you know.
Eh.
All right. You had your 15 seconds of fame.
You know what? She's probably, and honestly, knowing cats are like, I don't even need this fame. I'm a
Yeah,
god.
pretty much. Yeah. But cool. So should we blow through what's the role of Confederacy and when did they unite?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think honestly, we mentioned a lot of it.
Yeah.
But all right, what is their role? Ooh, so maybe we could take this and say, what are the gender roles?
If you want to, or it can just maybe they don't have to be gender roles, but like
Well, we could do so many things with
maybe
that.
we
We could do
decouple it
gender
from
roles.
gender
We
and
could do
say
spiritual. Like, what does a druid do? What or so? Ooh, what is the role within the cat? What is? Ooh, hold on. What is the role? So why don't we do this? Job titles.
yeah, because I don't want
Someone
to do
needs
things
to
you're born
HR.
into.
They might need an HR rep. Just
I
saying.
mean,
No.
well, in most hunter-gatherer societies, like you bring in a lot of basically raw materials, and you have to have a lot of people to process
Yeah.
those into usable things. Like a lot of the Native Americans would find or either harvest or gather like sunflower seeds, and then they would crush them into oil, and that's what they would use to cook with and stuff like that over time.
Yeah.
And so a lot of that the processing would have to be done. That would be done by like some kids, maybe the older people. Like I don't want to delineate it by any sort of gender, but maybe it's all by choice. And these,
Yeah, I mentioned gender because from a historical
yeah,
perspective, it was something that happened.
yeah,
Um, but what we could also do, because again, you also have to cater to your players. You
yes,
don't want to specifically, and this is not to specifically tie anyone down to a gender role, but you can have them challenge that gender role. You
uh
can
huh,
have them challenge that idea in thought.
uh
You
huh,
can even have them, whether it's gender, age, because either way, we're going to hit a topic, whether it's age, like intergenerational stuff,
mm-hmm.
you know, inter gender, cohesion.
Mm-hmm.
You never know. So we can approach it this way. So this is what I would say. Instead of anything, I would still tell the dungeon master, hey, consider those things and consider having to prepare for that. And I'll
Uh
do
huh.
this. I'll do this. This would be better. Um, be prepared to answer
Yeah.
the questions regarding gender role, generational, so age,
Mm-hmm.
and so on and so forth. There you go. So we'll do that. So a DM should be prepared to answer those questions.
Yeah.
But what we can do is this. We can describe it hunter. Actually, let's do this. Hunter, gatherer, right? So
And then processing. Oh yeah, yeah.
warriors. Um,
A lot of old hunting techniques took a lot of setup, like a lot of engineering went into them. Like creating fences in rivers for warriors to like chase fish into, like big funnels. Same with like deer and stuff like that. Yeah,
so engineers and trappers, things
yeah.
of that nature.
You could also call them
Defenders.
trappers and keepers.
Yeah.
Get some old Lisa Frank trapper keepers in here.
Well, we can actually now play the latest tabletop RPG called Trappers and Keepers.
Oh yeah.
Maybe that's what we do World Building Wednesday next time. Trappers and Keepers. Um, Defenders, right? So, and
Yeah.
again, these are just titles that we're kind of making up now. It's okay. Who defended the the home location while they went out on the hunt? So who did that?
Yeah.
There has to be someone because they know that from a rating perspective, another clan would say, "Oh, they're vulnerable." Go from there. It's okay. Warriors, rangers, engineers, trappers, whatever, defenders. What else from the hunter perspective would it be?
I think that's at least a pretty good starting list.
Let's do this. Butchers.
Okay.
Someone's gonna need to process it,
Yeah.
and specific knowledge on how to
Mm-hmm.
process meat. So, dealing with the manticore. Someone found out, oh, this is venomous. They're dead now. Someone had to learn how to process that specifically.
Yeah, that was Gerald. Gerald died from the
Yeah.
tail, and that's why we call tail spikes Gerald's out of honor of him.
Yeah, and also to be like, don't be a Gerald.
Yeah, don't be a fucking Gerald.
Don't be a nincompoop.
Yeah.
Oh. All right, gatherers. So what are they gonna do? They're gonna be farmers. They're gonna be herb herbologist. Is that the right word?
Herbalist.
Herbalist. Okay.
Uh,
Herbologist is Harry Potter. Never mind. Oops.
they would also be kind of stewards of the forest, like keeping things, like kind of doing controlled burns where needed and stuff like that to make sure that everything is kind of growing and thriving.
Agricultural researchers. They'll know,
Yeah.
like, okay, hey, if this specific blend is going to kill you, heal you, or what are they going to
Yeah.
do?
Yeah.
So farmers, herbalists, stewards, agricultural researchers, you think that I feel like they would have a religious connotation as well. Maybe,
Probably.
maybe they would be healers,
Definitely
right?
healers.
Because you go to them for medicine.
Yeah.
I think that they would also be like um, seers, right?
Yeah.
They have visions. They go in, they start to chew some stuff or
Hmm.
smoke it in a big old pipe, and then they're like, "Oh, I'm
Yep.
seeing some shit."
They would
I like that.
also be like maybe the cooks and maybe in charge of like food storage. Like maybe some of the stuff they find and gather has to ferment for like 8 months before it's any good, and so they have to be in charge of like creating the pots, putting them underground, and remembering where they are when they come back. Uh,
Yeah, and then so I would add chefs slash culinary prep, but then what they would probably do is be crafters. They're going to craft all the things that they need to do that. And actually, something here we forgot: smiths.
yeah.
Someone needs to continue keeping up with, you know, all the weapons that they're using.
Yeah,
Okay, so
at
when
least
did they
as much as
unite?
you can be a smith when you're nomadic. Yeah,
Huh?
at least as much of a smith as you can be if like you're at least remotely nomadic.
Yeah, so that but that's the thing then.
Yeah,
They have breath weapons.
yeah, I
So
guess that's true.
they what they can do is like, "Oh, you can spew fire? All right, we're going to make these clay pots that are basically they can be packed up easily and you're going to breathe you're going to use your breath weapon and you're going to hammer out
Yeah.
all this stuff."
You breathe fucking fire. That's great. I breathe steel, and this guy over here breathes carbon, and so we can make some real. Or I breathe iron. He
Well,
brings carbon, and we can make some
well,
steel.
that's the thing though. So like I mean fairy tales and anime, really it's pretty good actually. But there are dragons that breathe steel and iron. So like they eat iron and then breathe it back. So I don't know how that mechanically works, but you could I mean it's a world of fantasy for Pete's sake. We can come up with anything we want.
Yeah, I've always wondered, do Dragonborn have to like eat whatever the fuel would be for their thing? Like, do acid dragons have to just like constantly eat a bunch of spiders?
Or drop acid. What?
Yeah, probably. The L
No,
Ooh, an LSD dragon would be hilarious. You just
dude, that would
spew on
actually be
people, then
hilarious.
it's like an illusory spell.
Let me take you there, cause we're going. Boom. Now we're playing some
Mm,
Beatles. Actually,
yep.
I don't want to sing it because we might get I don't want to
Oh,
get NDA struck.
oh, you think you're going to sing it so well that it'll be indistinguishable from the recording?
Hell yeah, I'm a bard, bro. I'm just saying, I'm a bardy boy.
Fair enough.
A
Fair
thick bardy
enough.
boy. Just saying.
Ooh, yeah.
Thick with two C's. They might be like, damn, he sings really well and he's thick.
Yep.
Shit.
Yep. Uh,
That's what they'll probably do, man. Just saying. I know the Twitch. I
uh-huh.
know the Twitch. They like playing that jazz music and smoking them jazz cigarettes.
Is that what the Twitch does?
I don't know. That's what I think.
Fair enough. Sammy says
All
the
right.
LSD dragon needs rainbow scales, which I agree with.
Yes, no, absolute.
Yeah.
And the rainbow shimmers. It
Yeah.
just constantly shimmers and it's yeah. I like it a lot. All right, last, when did they unite? So there's going to be time focused. So really, I like to make it vague. Like, I want it to be something where if this has just happened, like
Uh,
it's almost like out of memory.
I would say before the
Or
Scale Wars,
okay,
because obviously they were together before the wars, right? That would make sense.
yeah. So let's say War of the Scales. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that a lot. All right, I like that. So that way it's kind of vague, but they know from an oral history
Yeah.
that's it. So all right, let's do this. We have that there. We've gone over everything, and I mean, we got 5 minutes. So honestly,
Mm-hmm.
we're good. I mean, we can. This is again. This is the beauty of world building.
Yeah,
And let
this
me
was a
refresh
big
this
one.
really quick.
We kind of designed a whole race. I hope maybe next week we'll choose like I really want to do just like an ordinary axe or ordinary weapons. I want to
What
do
we could
that.
do, we can actually create like a weapon for like the Artisans Guild, or maybe we create a
Yeah.
weapon for the Chromadric Confederacy.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you know what we should do next week? We should make a bow for the Chromadric
Yeah.
Confederacy.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a heavy bow that's only used by the person that's worthy of the hunt.
I'm down. Yeah, let's
I like
do
that a lot.
because I think one of the really good things of this. I don't know. Is this a podcast? Whatever this is, this Twitch,
No, it is a stream, man.
this
Podcast.
episodic stream that we have, is that we get to zoom in and out of world building to hit.
Literally and figuratively.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so I really want to start kind of exploring that. And so I like that idea of just doing a bow for the Chromatic Confederacy. Yeah, I think that'll be good.
You know what? I'm gonna set it up right now.
Do it. Why not?
So I'm gonna do. Ooh, wait a minute. Why don't I? Should we do?
Oh, do you want to remind everyone what website you're using? What's that? What's the wiki page
So
that you're
I'm
doing?
using a very unique page called youneedawiki.com.
Uh-huh.
We're not sponsored by them. We're not anything by them.
Yet.
But who we are sponsored by is you, the audience member. So thank you for watching. But
That's right.
we're basically using youneedawiki.com. There's probably other websites that you can use, like from a wiki perspective, but I
Probably like
like this
you
because
don't
it's
need a
integrated with Google
wiki.com.
Drive. Hmm?
Yeah, there's other websites like you don't need a wiki.com and like you might need a wiki.com.
Yeah, yeah. And let's not forget, you may need a wiki, but it's not
Ooh.
important.com.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I
So
used once and then I forgot about
it happens. That's most.
it.
I even forgot that was a site. But yeah, no, this website here is integrated with Google Drive. So basically, anything that you've created in Google Drive, you can just upload and create a wiki from it. It's pretty easy.
Yeah, that's
But
awesome.
actually, I'm going to do this. Do you want to create a spreadsheet so that way it has like we can essentially say, okay, this is what it does. This is the name of it.
Mhm.
Description. This is the damage it does. I
Um,
like that when it comes to weapons. I like kind of
here's
having that filter where it's like, you know what I'm saying?
here's something you may or may not know about me, but I have very few hard rules in my life. I live in a very fluid way, but the one rule I have is
Mm-hmm.
anytime someone asks me, "Do you want to make a spreadsheet?" I say yes because spreadsheets are amazing and I want to say, "Yep, let's make that spreadsheet."
All right, let's do it. So Madric Confederacy.
Before we log off, I'll show you one of my favorite spreadsheets that's just in it's the first Chrome bookmark you can see on the screen there. So what are we going to call it? Let's pick a vague but like inspirational name like Bow of the Ancients or like the yeah, spread them sheets or like the
Who said that comment? I love it.
oh, that's Charles.
I love it. Thanks, Charles.
Um
Ooh, I like
or
Bow
like
of the Ancients,
like
but I also like Bow
Mantibow.
of the Ancestors.
Ancestral
Bow
Bow
of
of the Ancients.
Ancestral Bow of the Ancients.
We can leave it there for today and we can revisit it next week.
That's right. We'll do that. So ancestral. Oh, did I spell that wrong? Yes, I did. Hold up. I'm not gonna stand for this. Actually, I am gonna stand
Yeah,
for this.
I think that's fair. We had
All
I
right.
misspelled Wednesdays on our loading screen last week.
It's okay. It happens.
Ooh,
Listen, y'all. We're
Bocor.
new to this.
Yeah.
We're new to this. But no, I don't have anything else to say except probably some shameless plugs.
Yeah.
Be sure to follow us on social media.
Yep.
Be sure to follow the link tree. I know on Instagram you can find the link tree. I am actually giving a world building workshop this Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it is actually so. If you thought that this was pretty in depth, we're going to talk about role playing and what role play looks like, and it's going to be pretty interactive. So if you are interested, sign up for it. It's going to be a good time. But yeah,
Yeah.
follow us on social media. Check out the workshop. You got any shameless plugs that you want to put in there, my friend?
Um, no, I mean, I will always shamelessly plug Dungeon Tape. It is a small company that I have that I started myself. I design tapes that helps you take your ideas for dungeons and maps and put them on your battle map. It's just tape that looks like stairs, walls. I have stickers for doors, windows, etc. Like, don't let your drawing skills get between you and a custom dungeon,
And
basically.
honestly, it gets you playing the game quicker.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I like the fact that it actually saves time.
Mm-hmm.
Like instead of like, oh crap, now I gotta draw everything by hand.
Yep.
Like, no, I get this roll of tape, put it on there, you're good to
Yep,
go.
saves time making maps, but also like explaining maps. Because whenever, and maybe this is just because I'm used to work in architecture, but like when I would draw maps, I would go into detail with the markers, and then players would just kind of say like, "Oh wait, what's this line? What's that line? Oh okay, so
Yeah.
that's the line for the river, and that's the line for the wall, and then that's the trap. Got it." And so they all looked kind of the same, and so with tapes, it's easy to like this one's obviously a fucking wall. And then you can go in with
Yeah.
marker like, okay, cool, I just drew the shoreline. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
It's easier to distinguish.
yeah. That's my goals with it. I hope it functions that way. I think it does, but that was my intent. So, and that's my shameless plug. I'll always rep my friends at Tactical Tokens. Similar
Yep.
vibe, makes it easier to play. Check them out. Follow me, Dungeon Tape, on Instagram, Tactical Tokens as well. Obviously, follow the Bearded Nerd Media. The tape, Charles just asked
You're
the.
all
Hmm?
you're also on TikTok. So
Oh, I
follow
did
that.
just start a TikTok. I have one video. I might do another one next week. Um, but so Charles, to your question, it is reusable in that it's still like you can peel it up and restick it. So like if you're making a dungeon, you can like move walls around and stuff as needed. Like if you're being
Yeah.
like a little creative. I don't plan on it being reusable because it's not really designed for it because it's hard to get back on the roll. So it's sold in low roll. So like if you like tear 6 inches off, like it's kind of hard to like stick on there. But it's also I sell it. I try to sell it affordably enough to where you don't need to reuse it in that sense. Um,
Well, you two are also in the same area, so
mm,
I don't know.
yeah,
Maybe what you can do is have a dungeon tape workshop
sure.
where you show folks in the local area how to use dungeon tape.
Oh, is Charles not actually in Hawaii? Because I'm in Texas.
Well, no, he's also in Texas as well.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
I shouldn't be saying his like it's probably not great.
Yeah,
Sorry,
what's
Charles.
Charles's
Didn't mean to do
address?
that.
Real
Yeah,
quick, you
what's his
wanna?
social?
Yeah, yeah, I'm in Austin. Here's my defund APD T-shirt from this summer. I
There
don't
you
know
go.
what
You
your
see,
political leanings
look
are,
at
but
this stream.
proof I'm in Austin.
We're connecting people literally in the same city. But anyway, folks, I
Yeah.
know it's a couple of minutes after we said that we were going to be gone and done. But look at this stream. We've connected people. This is what we do. So be sure to stay tuned next time. Be kind and compassionate to one another, y'all. This is some crazy times. This is some bullshit crazy times. But we as a community have to stick together. We gotta love each other, and we gotta love those that ye might not want to love. Just saying,
Yep.
gotta do it. Gotta be cool and chill with everyone. Maybe they need some 420 magic too. I don't know. Maybe they need some 420 fantasy.
We're
I don't
looking at
know.
you, Sammy.
That's right. That is right. But anyway, y'all, have a good one, and as always, keep gaming.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Cool. Oh, I should end the stream. I'm just sitting here like, it just ends on its own, right? All right. All right. Bye.